well over 90% of us would rather stay in our own home or our own community for as long as possible.
You're trying to figure out what your retirement is going to cost, what it's going to look like, and finding best choices.
90% of people over 65 are living with at least one chronic condition like cancer, disease, and diabetes.
From the Zoomerplex in historic Liberty Village, the Zoomer with Marissa Lennox.
Welcome to this special episode of the Zoomer. Recently, ZoomerMedia held a national summit on how Canadians can remain in their homes as they age. Today, I'm joined by my summit co-host from our Vancouver studios, Natasha Raey. Thanks for joining me, Natasha.
Thanks, Marissa. This pandemic has made it even more important for Canadians to stay in their homes as long as they can. The industry terms this aging in place, but we believe it should be about living well and enjoying life in the home you love as you age.
That's why we invited experts from across the country for the Living in Place Summit to share their products and services geared toward helping Zoomers live their best lives at home. But before we dive in, let's tee up the topic.
Most people want to stay in their homes as long as possible as they get older, but nothing is certain in these unpredictable times. That's why the Zoomer and Carp are presenting Living in Place Explained. Our team of experts is sharing detailed information and practical steps you can take to stay in the home you love as you age, including determining what modifications to make, what services are available, and how technology is helping. Living in Place Explained.
Our first speaker is Bill Van Gorter, Chief Policy Officer and Chief Operating Officer for Carp, to talk about the work that Carp is doing to create an infrastructure for living in place.
It was always clear that home care was preferred to institutional care. Rather than going into a long-term care facility, our Carp surveys show that well over 90% of us would rather stay in our own home or our own community for as long as possible. Modern-minded governments and policymakers know that staying in our own communities is a much better alternative, financially, socially, and medically. But the policy issues are: who pays for home care? How much does it cost? What's the role of governments or companies with benefit plans versus family-funded home care? Carp has always advocated for more direct government support for family-funded caregiving, better support for volunteer caregivers, and more public health dollars channeled to provide or subsidize in-home services. The COVID disaster in long-term care homes made it painfully clear that it's inadequate and effective in Canada's long-term care strategy. It has to be changed. Other countries with similar healthcare models allocate far more public health dollars to home and community care. Canada spends 87% on institutional care and only 13% on home and community care. OECD countries, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which is most of the larger economies in the world, spend 65% on institutional care and 35%, compared to our 13%, on home and community care. The institutional model of old-fashioned long-term home care facilities, as we have known it, is collapsing. Neither government nor industry can create enough long-term care beds fast enough to cope with the demand. The home-based model is going to be the solution. So all of this means that Carp's going to be expanding its role. Of course, we're advocating for better government policies, increased support of frontline home care, respite care, and day programs to better enable living in place, increased funding and use of technology-enabled home care, and expanded telehealth solutions to support patients and their families, and more support to family-funded caregiving. You probably know this as aging in place. What we believe it should be about living well and enjoying life in the home and the community you love.
All right, we need to take a short break. There's more when we return.
You're trying to figure out what your retirement is going to cost, what it's going to look like, and finding best choices.
Welcome back. Today we're highlighting presentations from ZoomerMedia's recent summit, Living in Place. Joining me once again from our Vancouver studios is Natasha Raey.
Thanks, Marissa. When we talk about in-home services and renovations for living in place, one question that gets asked a lot is, how can I afford it?
One of those options for paying for your retirement living is a reverse mortgage. But how exactly does it work? Yvonne Ziomecki is the Executive Vice President of HomeEquity Bank and the co-author of a new book called Home Run: The Reverse Mortgage Advantage.
So you say there are 4 R's when it comes to taking charge of our retirement, the first being review. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So it's not really just for people in their retirement. Everybody at any age should be reviewing their financial situation, but especially if you're transitioning towards retirement and into retirement, it's time to review. So you should review, what do you have? What are your assets? What are your liabilities? What are the bills that you're paying on regular basis? And then figure out from that assessment if you have enough to fund the lifestyle that you're looking forward to in retirement. The other thing that you should be doing is you should be looking at how you want to live in retirement. So, do you like your current neighborhood? Do you like the amenities that it offers? Are your friends nearby? Because I think when you do that part really, really well, then you're much better set up for taking the next step and making the right decisions for yourself. So the second R is research. You should research where you would like to move and what are the costs of downsizing to that new location, how much would the house cost, and then do some pros and cons, because there are financial considerations to downsizing and there's also emotional considerations to downsizing. But I think, that's why we say in the book, the research part is really important to learn about all those things. You should also look at what your financial situation looks like and what are the other options that you may have. So if you have an existing mortgage, for example, or if you have credit cards that are outstanding, you should be looking at what are some of the options, financing options for you. You should also research for staying in the house that you want, what you want that house to look like. So that's where Wellwise or your other partners come in, where they can make modifications to the house. So if you're looking to add a ramp, it may start at $2,500. If you're building an elevator, it may be $20,000. If you are having someone to come in and just do light housekeeping, a little bit of cleaning, a little bit of cooking, maybe that could be $500. And if you're going towards a PSW, so personal support worker, that would probably be around $3,500. So that's the research part, where you're trying to figure out what your retirement is going to cost, what it's going to look like, and finding best choices. So the third R would be reverse. So a lot of people in retirement own their own homes, and you don't have to own your home outright, meaning you can have a small mortgage or a small loan on your property. And there are 2 ways. You can give us a call or you can go online. A lot of customers really like to do their own research. There's a lot of information online. If you come to chip.ca, you will find a lot of information. What you'll find is explanation how the product works, how reverse mortgages work. So you will learn that it's just like a regular mortgage. The only difference is that as long as you stay in your home, you're actually not making any monthly mortgage payments. So whatever income that you may need, or whatever money you were using to pay off a conventional mortgage, now you don't have to make those payments. You stay in your house. You have to be 55 or older. On average, actually, our customers are around 72 years old. And so as I said before, you come on our website, chip.ca, or you give us a call. And the first step is figuring out an estimate, how much money we could give you. So we will ask your age, your address, how much you think the value of your house is. Right now, it's really hard to figure out the value of the house because the real estate market has been on fire across the country. So it may be worth more than you realize, but it's really worth going through that. On our website, you'll also have access to calculators. So you can figure out not just how much money you need, but how much money you're going to have left over down the road. So right now on the screen, we have this graph. So let's say there was a house we could find in Toronto or in Vancouver for $600,000. And then the chart illustrates what happens 10 years down the road. So basically, the best way to think about it is you only borrow a small portion of the value of the house. So if it's worth $600,000 and you borrow $100,000, it's a relatively small amount. At the end of the first year, let's say the interest is 5%, you would owe $5,000 in interest. But if the house appreciates over time at 3%, so at the end of the first year, your house would be worth $618,000. Just a really straightforward math, because interest is only on what you borrow and the entire value of the house appreciates. So if you take that 18 minus 5, you're still ahead by $13,000 just in year one. And it continues the further it goes along. Now, I'll tell you one thing, 3% is an extremely conservative home appreciation rate. I mean, we've been seeing 10, 15, 20, even 30%. But on average, over time in Canada, CREA says it's around 5.5%. So your house will appreciate by about 5.5%, and you only accumulate interest on the small portion that you borrowed.
All right, and of course the fourth R being relax. So I guess just take a big, deep sigh of relief. Is that?
Well, I always tell people that money is good for two things. Money is good for lifestyle and money is good for relationships. And a lot of our clients, and I talk to our clients on a weekly basis, our brand ambassador, Carp and I have been calling clients for the last few months, just checking in on them and listening to their life stories. And in every single story, what really comes out is how this money from CHIP, from reverse mortgage, really changed their life for the better. So we hear all kinds of stories, but it's about enhancing the lifestyle and really enjoying your retirement years. So opportunities or options are really endless for how people want to use it. And we've been doing this for 35 years. We're really good at it. We love our customers. So I always invite people, call in, ask for information. There's no obligation. You don't have to make a decision on the spot. There's no pressure sales tactics, but I think it's important to know what your options are.
More from ZoomerMedia's Living in Place Summit when we return.
We all have the right to move to music and to share our passions and our stories through dance.
Welcome back. Staying connected and in the moment is the essence of dance. There are obvious benefits for the body, but did you know that dancing is good for the brain as well?
Ashleigh Powell is head of community dance programs at Canada's National Ballet School. She works with partners across the education, community programming, and sports sectors to bring the widespread benefits of dance to all Canadians, including seniors.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Canada's National Ballet School. My name is Ashleigh, and I'm the head of community dance programs here at NBS, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you to our beautiful studios here in our downtown Toronto campus. What you may know about Canada's National Ballet School is that for over 60 years, we've been a beacon of excellence in dance training, providing Olympic caliber ballet training alongside rigorous academic education and on-site residence facilities. And we're proud to be one of the few organizations in North America that can provide all of those services. Talent is the sole criterion for entry here at NBS, and our very talented students who come to us from coast to coast to coast graduate to move on to careers in ballet on 80 stages across the world as dancers, choreographers, and artistic directors. But what you may not know about Canada's National Ballet School is that we have one of the richest community-engaged dance programs of any ballet school in the world. Every day, we get to experience the transformative power of dance in our lives here at Canada's National Ballet School. And we believe that transformative power should be shared with every Canadian, regardless of age, ability, or state of health. We all have the right to move to music and to share our passions and our stories through dance. That's why we're committed to creating programs for children in public schools, for community centers, for youth, and for older adults. In fact, that's what I'm here to talk to you about today, is our programs for older adults. The beginning of this journey for us here at Canada's National Ballet School was actually a research project. We started with a program for people living with Parkinson's disease, with a research program that was trying to understand and further the evidence that backs up the physical, social, and emotional benefits to participating in dance. And to say that was a transformational experience for us would be an understatement, because welcoming those wonderful older adults into our programs, into our schools, really transformed us in the way we looked at how dance could be provided. What it brought to us was a key question, because we understood that this was such an amazing and rich program, but it was so few people who were able to come to our Toronto campus to dance along with us. How could we, as a national institution, bring these programs out from coast to coast? Whether you're in a rural community, whether you're aging at home, everybody should be able to access this kind of amazing programming. So in order to answer that key question, how can we expand our reach? We developed some partnerships. First with Baycrest, which is an expert in brain health, and then with the Trent Center for Aging and Society, which helped us research this question: could dance be delivered remotely? So for over 4 years, we piloted our programs in community centers, in long-term care homes, for active seniors in the community, and for seniors living with diseases like Parkinson's disease and their caregivers. And through that practice, we iterated our programs, we changed up our methods, and we really came to see that these programs were bringing value into people's lives. In fact, there were 3 key takeaways we had from this experience. The first was that we were able to see the same physical benefits we had seen in our on-site programming, and that had been shown through evidence. That included better balance, better mobility, better strength, and increased flexibility. It was amazing to hear our participants tell us that they were having these same benefits. The next thing wasn't a surprise to us at all: the artistic benefits. The fact that engaging in an artistic program can give you a greater sense of agency, that moving to music can help you recapture a sense of grace. In fact, music came to be a key feature in our programming, as everybody loves to hear the music that they remember from their youth and to really move together with that music. The third takeaway was something that was really a wonderful gift to us, and that was understanding that for populations with challenges, including people living with dementia and their carers, the programs provided an opportunity to break down some of the social isolation that those participants were experiencing. And we all know that this past year has been full of challenges related to our social isolation, so it was an amazing finding to see that these programs could make a difference in that way. So I'm pleased to say today that all of that research has culminated in the launch of a program we call Sharing Dance Older Adults. Again, that's co-designed by Canada's National Ballet School and Baycrest. We're excited that now people can do these programs from their home. You can check out our website, or you can even download the program onto a tablet or a phone and dance along with us every day. And you too can experience those same physical, social, and emotional benefits that dance can provide.
All right, we need to take a short break. There's more when we return.
And now, more importantly than ever, we want to assist you and your loved ones to stay at home for as long as possible.
Welcome back to this special edition of the Zoomer as we highlight some of the presentations at our recent Living in Place Summit.
Our next speakers are from Wellwise by Shoppers. Wellwise is described as a retail experience aimed at helping provide Canadians the ability to stay in their homes as they age.
We'll hear from Danaka Bailey, Respiratory Manager, and Michael Kitchen, Director of Business Development, as they describe how their experience can help Canadians stay longer in the home they love.
So here at Wellwise, we can't reiterate enough that age does not have to negatively impact your view of everyday life. Just because we're all getting older doesn't mean we must do less. In fact, it means we can explore and try new things. Our goal is to provide you with products and services to help maximize your own individual lifestyle. And now, more importantly than ever, we want to assist you and your loved ones to stay at home for as long as possible. As a leading Canadian company, we strive to help Canadians take control of how they age. We offer a wide range of products from incontinence, mobility, Cpap and sleep therapy, home safety, health monitoring, compression, and so much more. If you haven't done so already, I encourage you to visit one of our 43 locations or discover more online at wellwise.ca. Now let's dive deeper into our sleep and Cpap category. So it's no surprise that a good night's rest can make you feel better, but good quality sleep also has a positive impact on your overall health. This includes your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Healthy sleep can also help keep you safe. Studies have shown that sleeping only 6 hours per night is associated with a 33% increased risk of motor vehicle accidents compared to sleeping 7 or 8 hours a night. Some researchers have started to suggest that sleep quality is actually more important than sleep duration. And a growing number of studies have demonstrated that both short sleep duration and poor sleep quality increase the risk of developing cardiovascular disease. Public Health Canada reports that a quarter of Canadians aged 65 to 79 are not getting enough sleep. Insufficient sleep can be caused by lifestyle factors such as stress and diet, by chronic conditions such as incontinence, and by health conditions such as asthma, heart disease, and sleep apnea. There are many ways to improve your sleep, some of which are more easily done than others, of course. It really does depend on what's going on and what's causing the insufficient sleep. But one simple way to do that is actually just taking a survey of your sleep environment and making small changes to create more of a sleep sanctuary. So think anything that impacts your senses. So what you see, hear, smell, touch, perhaps taste even, can impact your sleep. So ideally, we want to have a cool room, a dark room, a quiet room with comfortable bedding, and perhaps some other things to help promote relaxation, such as lavender diffuser, for example. In the city, being quiet may actually involve getting a sound machine, for example, to block out some outside noise. So as I said, taking a look at your sleep environment and making some small changes to create more of that sanctuary relaxation type room can actually go quite a long way. And at Wellwise, we have a team of sleep consultants that can provide recommendations based on your individual needs to help you improve your sleep. Okay, and then we'll take a look at sleep apnea. So sleep apnea is becoming more of a common term that people are getting familiar with. But for those who are not, sleep apnea is a potentially serious sleep disorder in which breathing starts and stops throughout the night as someone is sleeping. The most common type of sleep apnea is obstructive sleep apnea. And what's happening there is there's actually a physical obstruction in the airway preventing normal breathing. And that obstruction is usually relaxed muscles. So what happens is someone gets relaxed, their muscles relax and the airway closes completely or partially and opens up many times throughout the night. As a result of not having a proper breath, blood oxygen levels decrease, and that causes a lot of stress on our body. Over time, this can have very serious consequences on someone's health. People with untreated sleep apnea are at an increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure that's medication resistant, and increase the risk of having other cardiac events such as a heart attack or stroke. So it's very important that people get treated for their sleep apnea and stay on their treatment. And that's easier said than done, of course. So the best way to treat obstructive sleep apnea is through what we call Cpap therapy. And Cpap stands for continuous positive airway pressure. And it's really the gold standard for treating obstructive sleep apnea. What it does is there's a machine that's connected to a tube, which is connected to a mask that the sleeper will wear on their face. And that machine actually blows air through the tube and mask to help keep the airway open so that it can't close. And that will allow for regular breathing and healthier sleep.
One of the key themes we've seen emerge during the pandemic has been living in place, and consumers wanting to extend the number of years they're able to live in the home they love. There's a variety of challenges that can arise when you're looking to potentially move from your home, such as an affordable solution for the next phase of your life where proper care will be provided, and finding a setting where one doesn't feel isolated as they age. But if the longevity of one's home can be extended, there's many benefits that it can bring, including a feeling of ongoing independence and high quality of life, a continued connection with the community that one has been a part of for many years, along with the eliminated stress of having to adapt to a new living environment. So to accommodate extending the life of your home, there's really 4 primary areas where Wellwise can help. Though at this time, these services are limited to individuals in Ontario. The first is bathroom safety, where the majority of falls and accidents occur that can unfortunately potentially lead to time in the hospital and then rehabilitation. And so to prevent these types of injuries from occurring, we can offer and install grab bars, right height toilets, and walk-in tubs, among other products. Home comfort is the second area where we can help. This can take the form of adjustable beds for being able to get in and out of bed comfortably each day, custom railings to help prevent falls, along with mobility products to help maintain independence. The third area is home entry, where we have a variety of different ramps, railings, and lifts to help overcome stairs, which may have become more of a challenge to navigate over time. And then the final area we have is elevators and lifts. One of the most common aging individuals face over time is transitioning from one floor to another. And so we offer custom elevators and various types of lifts to ensure a safe transfer from one level of your home to the other. So from a process perspective, how this works is you can contact us either online through wellwise.ca, where there's an online form where you can fill out the type of service that you're interested in, or you can simply call us at 1-888-603-4369 to speak to someone from our team. Our team of experienced trained technicians will then visit your home to complete an assessment and provide a quote. And then once the quote is approved, we'll complete the installation on a date and time that's convenient for you.
There's more after the break. Stay tuned.
People need to have a strategy in place for when the time comes and when they can no longer care for themselves.
Welcome back. The pandemic has highlighted 2 important facts. Canada has a long-term care crisis, and Canadian seniors want to age in place.
Cynthia Schindler and Posner of MyDignity have dedicated their careers to improving the quality of life for Canadian seniors.
They'll discuss their insurance product and how it can give you peace of mind for your future. Cynthia and Miles, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy to be here. 90% of people over 65 are living with at least one chronic condition like cancer, disease, and diabetes, and many with more than one. The intent is not to scare you, but rather to educate you so that you can be prepared for what's coming. Simply, people need to have a strategy in place for when the time comes and when they can no longer care for themselves. So what are the options available? We have 4 of them that we've highlighted. One, obviously, is relying on the government. But the recent pandemic has brought something to mind that most people want to stay at home when the time comes. And they want to be in control of who will take care of them. Okay, fair enough. 2, rely on family and friends. I don't believe this is a strategy. I think this is shifting the obligation and the responsibility to people, their family and friends, who are not trained to be caregivers, because it is a very demanding job. What about borrowing funds? But think about it. Who really wants to go into debt in their senior years? I don't know. And especially when that person passes away, they leave the family high and dry. Perhaps we can dip into our savings or encroach upon our assets. that we've worked so long and hard to accumulate. But talking to people, most would rather leave it to their loved ones to give them a fighting chance because, let's face it, life is not a dress rehearsal. Number 4, well, what about purchasing insurance for pennies on the dollars? We'll take a look. Now, one can pick their poison, but the two most logical choices are relying on the government or planning with insurance, which we'll investigate a little further. Let's compare relying on the government to having a plan. Well, relying on the government is like being in the army. You're a recipient of care. You don't have any control over who, when, or what services are provided. It's limited at best. A couple of examples that have been relayed to us. A woman over 65 was needing to have care by being bathed and dressed, but the knock on the door was from a man. A very humiliating situation, as she would have preferred to have a woman. Where is the dignity there? One more example. We know of a woman who used to wake up, and it's not all women, at 9 o'clock, but the knock on the door was at 6 o'clock. What a way to mess up your day. Where is the respect in all of this? And don't forget, any government assistance is really only custodial in nature, which means bathing and dressing. There's no way that they're going to get involved in what is known as instrumental activities of daily living, which are vital. For example, what about purchasing food or light housekeeping or even preparing food? It doesn't happen. So on the other side of the equation, you're planning with insurance, you are a consumer. You have control of all the things that you need.
So let's take a close look at the Carp home care assistance plans. They were designed for Carp members, and they were created to fill the gap that exists in our system. And it's something that families struggle with when they're providing care for a loved one. The focus of the coverage of the home care plan is home care, but there's lots of other benefits too. Now, you might be asking yourself, and you should be asking yourself, this important question: how do I qualify for benefits? What has to happen for me to begin using my plan? Well, it's actually really simple. Nice to have something simple for a change. It would involve your doctor indicating on a claim form that something has changed for you, either physically or cognitively, and you need the assistance of another person. Now, this could be a short-term situation, and we've seen many claims like that. You know, you might have undergone a surgical procedure and you need some assistance in your own home. Maybe you've had a fracture or an injury. Okay, again, another short-term situation, or maybe something longer term where you're dealing with the ramifications of a serious illness and you need help at home. Or maybe you're one of the few lucky ones that make it into your 90s relatively unscathed, but you know, the body starts to let us down and we get a little frail with time. It's irrelevant how we get there. The key is that your doctor would have to indicate on a claim form that you're having difficulty with 2 out of what they call activities of daily living. Besides physically needing assistance, there's also the ability to qualify because you have a cognitive limitation. And that doesn't mean full-blown dementia. It means that, you know, you're in a situation where you need somebody to think and rationalize for you. So when people find themselves in that situation, that would be the time that you would begin, either yourself, your power of attorney, your loved ones, you begin selecting the different services, supplies, and equipment that you would need to remain in your own home. So it might be ordering your favorite dinner from your favorite restaurant, or maybe you've got to do some modifications to your home so that you can remain there longer safely. It might be a chairlift, a walk-in tub, or maybe you're using a walker and the carpets need to be removed because that's a safety hazard. Whatever it is, you have the flexibility to direct your care your way, and I cannot stress to you how important that is. Now, undoubtedly, the biggest expense associated with our future care is going to be labor costs. Because if you can't do for yourself, somebody has to do for you. And don't despair, because that's one of the primary features of the home care plan. We've got you covered. Now, people reach us, and this will allow you to be able to hire somebody that you like who will come into your home at the time you need them to come and do what you need to have done. And also, we are there right behind you if you need assistance with finding resources or making those claims. You're not alone. And I think that's very important for people to know that they have backup, that they've got a support system. Now, we realize too that, there comes a time in life where we may not have access to a simple health plan that would cover things like a semi-private hospital room. So very cleverly, the plan actually includes a mini health plan that would pay for things like hospitalization costs, diagnostic tests, even MRIs. Yes, our system covers that, but can you afford to wait 4 months? And if you have a serious problem, that is what's going to jump you into the healthcare system. And the good news is that neither the home care or the mini health plan have any waiting period. You don't have to satisfy an elimination period. Those benefits are there immediately. And the mini health plan doesn't need to be triggered because you have a cognitive or physical dependency. You have access to it whenever you need it. Let's look at some of the highlights of the plan. The only choice you really have to make is how big of a virtual bank account or line of credit would you like to create and earmark for that time in the future when you need assistance in your own home? You have a choice. You can choose 50, 100, or 150,000 tax-free dollars. And you should include your spouse, because if I've got 150,000 and he has 150,000, that's 300,000 tax-free dollars earmarked for our care at home. That's a tremendous way to protect your nest egg that you've worked so hard for many years to acquire, okay? All for pennies on the dollar. The benefits are for life as long as you have acquired the policy before age 81, and premiums are based on the age that we are. And you need to walk through the door when the door is open, when you're reasonably healthy. The other best kept secret is that this plan qualifies as a private health services plan, meaning that the premium is deductible as a business expense or as an expense applied to the medical tax credit, and yet none of the benefits are taxable.
When we come back, we'll hear some final thoughts from our panelists.
Welcome back to this special edition of the Zoomer. Today, we've been highlighting some of the talks from ZoomerMedia's recent summit titled Living in Place.
We're going to take a look now at some final thoughts from our presenters as they discuss how you can stay happily in your home as you age.
Let's take a look.
Make time for it. Don't rush out. Don't force people to make any quick decisions. Just give it time, because people need time to think through, especially financial matters. We can't basically keep up with the demand. Everybody's busy. We're taking a lot of calls. I believe the number of inquiries from customers, just even in Q4 of last year, were up 45% year over year. So not to say everybody who's calling is ending up getting CHIP or getting reverse mortgage, but a lot more people are considering it. A lot more people are interested. We have adult children calling and asking questions on behalf of their parents. I think that's really a sign of a trend in this market, because again, everybody is feeling safe and secure in their home, and that's where they want to stay.
As I mentioned, this is a program that you can do in your home. Sharing Dance Older Adults is a program available in your home, and we'd love to tell you a bit more about how you can get involved. Welcome to Baycrest NBS Sharing Dance Older Adults, a place to discover the joy and benefits of dance at home. Subscribe to access dance classes that you can enjoy in your seat or on your feet. Regular dancing helps overall physical, emotional, and social well-being. Dance also helps develop skills and confidence while enriching your day-to-day life through creative expression. Download the app on your phone or tablet for your preferred viewing experience. Join hundreds of Canadians discovering the power of dance with Sharing Dance Older Adults. Find us today at oa.sharingdance.ca.
So I want you to think about this plan as your customized personal health plan that's going to protect your independence and your dignity and your savings, along with your primary assets like properties and your home. Note that we will be there every step of the way from beginning to end, helping you determine which plan is right for you, helping you with an application, with the eligibility criteria, ensuring that it fits your budget. And again, always going to be there in the event that you have a claim and you're struggling with the system. We're there. We're going to help you get through that.
At Wellwise, we have a full complement of products to help support our clients on Cpap therapy. We offer the leading machines, masks, and tubes. And we also carry a variety of items that help make life with Cpap a little bit easier. So if anybody knows someone with Cpap, they probably know there's some cleaning involved. And we carry a variety of products like the So Clean and Lumen, brushes and wipes to help make that maintenance a little bit easier. So at Wellwise, our team of sleep consultants is comprised of registered nurses, registered respiratory therapists, and registered polysomnographic technologists. And they are available to provide recommendations and create a personalized treatment plan in conjunction with a physician to ensure that our clients are successful on Cpap therapy long-term.
We hope you've really enjoyed learning about Wellwise by Shoppers today and how we can be your partner in home healthcare. We do encourage you to please visit one of our 42 locations across the country or discover us online at wellwise.ca.
That's all the time we have. I want to say a special thank you to my co-host in Vancouver, Natasha Raey.
Thanks, Marissa. It was my pleasure. And I know everyone in our audience can take something away from these presentations.
Definitely thanks to all of our presenters at the Living in Place Summit, and of course to you at home for watching. We'll see you soon. For now, it's time to zoom out.